Hey there, movie fans! Welcome back to our channel, where we dive deep into the fascinating world of cinema. Today, we have an incredible true story to discuss the rise and fall of Harlem's notorious gangster, Bumpy Johnson, and his right-hand man, Frank Lucas. The movie begins with a scene in a dimly lit alley at night. Bumpy Johnson and Frank Lucas douse a Hispanic man with gasoline, setting him ablaze. Amidst the man's agonizing screams, Frank shoots him. Bumpy is a prominent local gangster who holds sway over most of Harlem, with Frank serving as his trusted right-hand man. He earns popularity among African Americans in West Harlem by distributing frozen turkeys to the locals. During a stroll with Frank, Bumpy enters a used appliance store where he discusses the takeover of big business, leaving no room for the small-time players. Suddenly, Bumpy suffers a heart attack and collapses in the store. He later passes away. At his highly publicized funeral, several mobsters are present. Meanwhile, Richie Roberts, a detective from New Jersey, attends law classes while harboring a dislike for public speaking. Richie and his partner stumble upon $1 million in cash and debate whether to turn it in. Despite the argument, Richie decides to surrender the money, refusing any personal gain or involvement for himself or his colleagues. Frank grows dissatisfied with the way the mob operates, particularly with the constant payments to another mobster named Tango. Tango, an old associate of Bumpy, seeks control over Bumpy's former territory. Additionally, Frank struggles to find quality drugs. Learning that drugs are inexpensive in Vietnam through a television broadcast, Frank acquires a passport and visits his cousin, who owns a nightclub in Vietnam. Richie's marriage crumbles due to his wife's complaint about his lack of time spent with their son. After their divorce, Richie's wife announces plans to move to Las Vegas with their son. Refusing to allow his wife to relocate across the country with their child, Richie engages in a minor altercation with a group of delinquents smashing bottles nearby. Frank strikes a deal with his cousin to smuggle heroin back to the United States in coffins carrying deceased soldiers returning from Vietnam. He travels to Vietnam to personally discuss the arrangement with his future supplier. By eliminating intermediaries, Frank can sell heroin at a lower price than anyone else in New York. Moreover, the heroin he offers is of exceptional purity, earning the nickname Blue Magic. One night, Richie receives a distressing call from his partner, Javier, who confesses to killing a man in his apartment, claiming self-defense. They disguise the deceased man's appearance to make it seem like he is still alive and have paramedics carry him out. Richie admits to his partner that he needs assistance as he is addicted to drugs, which led to the fatal encounter. His partner becomes upset and jumps out of the ambulance, blaming Richie for introducing drugs into their lives and attempting to forget the disdain they face at the police station. Frank thrives in his endeavors, owning multiple nightclubs and relocating his brothers and mother from North Carolina to New York. He purchases an exquisite mansion with an expansive garden for his mother and has a vanity crafted based on his childhood memories in North Carolina. Richie's quest for custody of his child faces obstacles due to his association with unsavory characters, such as his son's godfather, a corrupt local businessman, and his penchant for engaging with prostitutes, including his lawyer. Frank involves his brothers in the drug trade and generously compensates them for their work. He chastises his brother Huey for drawing unwanted attention by dressing too ostentatiously. It is during this period that Frank encounters Ava, a Puerto Rican beauty queen, and falls deeply in love with her. At a party, a drunken guest shoots another guest in the leg out of jealousy. If you are enjoying the video this far, kindly like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Now let's continue. Enraged, Frank brutally assaults the offender in front of his horrified guests, repeatedly striking him with the lid of his grand piano. Javier succumbs to a drug overdose, prompting Richie to establish a narcotics unit and target major drug dealers rather than small-time peddlers. Initially, their efforts yield limited success, leading Richie to take to the streets. He discovers blue magic and endeavors to uncover the source of such potent and affordable drugs. Alongside his partner, he tracks a substantial sum of money provided to a dealer and follows a tunnel to New York. While attempting to recover the money, Richie encounters Detective Trupo. Trupo, openly disdainful of Richie, returns the money but warns him to stay away from New York since he has no jurisdiction there. One evening, Frank and his girlfriend attend a boxing match between Muhammad Ali and Joe Louis, enjoying prime seats that surpass even those of renowned entertainers. Frank adorns an expensive chinchilla fur coat and hat gifted by Ava, enabling him to sit and shake hands with Joe Louis. Richie spots Frank and notes down the license plate number of the limousine transporting him. Later, Trupo stops Frank's car, discovering drugs within it, and demands a monthly share of Frank's profits, amounting to $10,000. Disappointed, Frank tosses his expensive coat into the fireplace upon returning home, disappointing Ava. Richie identifies the man he observed as Frank Lucas and resolves to bring him down. However, he lacks concrete evidence of Frank's involvement in the drug trade. Frank has built a vast empire and skillfully deflects attention and accusations away from himself. Frank marries Ava and finds himself entangled with Detective Trupo, who demands $10,000 monthly to keep silent. He also contends with Nicky Barnes, a competing mobster selling heroin under the name Blue Magic but secretly cutting the supply and selling it independently. Frank and Ava narrowly escape an assassination attempt by an unknown assailant, possibly Nicky. One night, Richie witnesses one of Frank's men nearly killing his girlfriend. Instead of arresting the perpetrator, they coerce him into wearing a wire. This enables Richie to learn about Frank's heroin smuggling methods. Frank's situation becomes dire as the war ends, hindering his ability to reintroduce drugs into the United States. Richie conducts a search on a U.S. plane but finds no drugs. He joins forces with Trupo, who holds a grudge against Frank for damaging his prized Ford Mustang. Trupo conducts a search of Frank's house. During this period, Richie engages in a confrontation with a U.S. general due to his investigation potentially implicating the military in drug smuggling. Richie's team discovers drugs hidden in coffins stored at a warehouse, leading to a massive shootout. Frank is apprehended when he exits a church after the conclusion of a service. Richie and Frank finally meet, and Frank expresses his indifference toward his fate. However, Richie offers Frank a deal. If he discloses his offshore accounts and provides the names of corrupt cops, he will receive a more lenient sentence. Frank cooperates with the authorities, divulging information about other drug dealers and corrupt cops. As a result, his sentence is reduced due to his assistance to the police. Richie, on the other hand, relinquishes custody of his child, allowing his ex-wife to take the child to Las Vegas. Few years later, Frank is released from prison, and Richie personally picks him up. Richie treats Frank to a fancy cup of coffee in their old Harlem neighborhood, marveling at the significant changes. When a small group of young gang members attempts to confront them, they retreat upon recognizing Frank. Frank remarks, "Even a fool gets to be young once." Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, kindly leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe so you do not miss any video. See you in our next video.